Ewan McGregor's return to the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi has been hugely anticipated, even for the actor himself, who explained that he's more excited to play Obi-Wan this time around than he was initially for the Star Wars prequels, believing that the Star Wars universe has expanded ever since he originally played the role of Obi-Wan, and is excited to step back into that character's shoes now that he's an older man, and now that Kenobi himself is older as well. In an interview today with The Hollywood Reporter, Ewan McGregor talked a little bit about the Kenobi series, but more importantly, he talked about what it was like working on the Star Wars prequels, something that greatly intrigues me, and what the actors were thinking when they were actually making the prequels. But something I think is potentially even more interesting, how the actors felt following the massive backlash of episode 1, 2, and 3, and how personally the actors felt after the fans seemingly turned on the franchise. Ewan McGregor's performance in the prequels have been widely praised, and many people consider him to be the best part, which is why we're getting an Obi-Wan Kenobi series now. The casting and performance of Ewan McGregor in the prequels is one of my favorite, as it is with a lot of other Star Wars fans. I haven't really ran into anyone that has thought that Ewan was bad in the prequels at all. Many consider him to be the best part and the most interesting character and performance, a sentiment that I would agree with. When talking about what it was like working on the prequels, Ewan said this: "After 3 or 4 months of that, it just gets really tedious, especially when the scenes are, I don't want to be rude, but it's not exactly Shakespeare." This is in reference to shooting largely on green screen and the overuse of CGI in the prequels, which Ewan is directly referencing here, and is one of the biggest complaints of the Star Wars prequel, that of course being its over-reliance on CGI. And Ewan is not the first actor to talk about how working on a green screen can be difficult, and attempting to act with an environment and even characters that aren't really there, just having to use his imagination. When talking about the fan backlash of the prequels, this is what Ewan had to say: "It was hard. They didn't get well received at all. That was quite difficult. They were universally not very much liked. I'm really excited about Obi-Wan though. Maybe more so than I was because of the first ones, because I'm much older." Ewan McGregor's not the first actor to talk about prequel fan backlash, with Ahmed Best being the most outspoken of the prequel crew as his depiction of Jar Jar Binks. Hayden Christensen though briefly talked about it in his advice to Kelly Marie Tran, mentioning how it's the vast minority that is vocal, and to try to not let it bother her, and that a lot of people are actually enjoying the new Star Wars content. It does make sense though that all of the actors behind Star Wars were impacted by the fans' critique, and that it would be difficult, especially since they worked so hard on this project for many years in a lot of their cases. Anyway though, what are your thoughts on this, and what are your thoughts on Ewan McGregor's comments on working on the Star Wars prequels, and how the fan backlash has affected him since? And this raises a fairly big question: how should fans react if they don't like a product that's given to them? What do you think is the appropriate reaction to benefit all parties involved? As always, my friend,